Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Chantalle Verna, and I'm very glad to have you join us here today for today's Coffee and Conversations, hosted by the Wolfsonian Public Humanities Lab. It's a weekly webinar, and you can find previous episodes of our program on the WPH YouTube page, as well as on their website, which is wphl.fiu.edu. Today we have a very special guest, Sandy Dorsainvil, and she is here as part of our effort to respond to the novel coronavirus pandemic. And in this series, what we do is we focus on being able to talk to leaders of cultural institutions to highlight the important work that they're doing and see how we as members of the community can learn more about their work and to support them during this very important time. So our format is really simple, just lasts no more than 30 minutes. I'll speak with Sandy for a few. We'll ask her a couple of questions, hear what she has to say, and then we'll take a few questions from the audience. So at any time during our broadcast, you can feel free to submit your questions. I'll receive them, and then when we get to the Q&A portion, we'll be ready to move forward with the Q&A. So you can find that question, the space to ask your questions by pushing on the button at the bottom of your screen. So when you do, please identify yourself. Let us know who it is that you are and where it is that you're calling from so we can know who's here as part of our conversation. And we'll try to get to as many questions as we can. And if we're not able to answer them during the live session, we'll do our best to follow up with you after the episode. So again, today we have Sandy Dorsainvil. She is the manager of the Little Haiti Cultural Center and Caribbean Marketplace here in Miami, Florida. And we want to welcome her very much and give her a chance to talk to us a little bit about her background. Sandy, I've had a chance to get to know you a little bit during the past couple of years and know that you have a very rich humanities background yourself, having studied at Howard University and also really being a major cultural curator within the community. So if you could tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing and how that also informs what we experience when we get to know the Little Haiti Cultural Center and Caribbean Marketplace.
Hi, thank you so much, Chantalle, for having me. It's always exciting to sort of get back to my roots because lots of times people speak from the event production side and not necessarily from the humanities, cultural preservation, history side, which is my first passion. So I started my career, my education studying history. I studied Caribbean history. That was always my passion. And my first career was a history teacher, a social studies teacher. And I thought I was going to do that forever. And then sort of got pulled into administration and later on marketing for Broward County Public Schools and realized, okay, I love history, but I was better at sort of getting other people engaged and actually teaching it in the classroom and that type of interaction. So I sort of took my passion for history and for humanities into event curating and into cultural preservation, first for Broward County and then for the city of Miami. So really what I do is I go into communities and into neighborhoods, and my farming zone or my specialty has become Little Haiti. First, because I'm Haitian American and I'm first generation Haitian American here in the United States. And it's fun to talk about where I'm from, where my family's from, what we do, what we love, what our culture brings to the American fabric. And then as I was talking about those things, I learned really quickly, and any educator in humanities knows, once people get comfortable with who they are, where they're from, what they're doing, what their past is, it's sort of easier for them to accept where they're going and what they can contribute and see the beautiful things that they bring to the table. So that's what I do. I really look at Haitian culture. I look at all the different aspects of it, from food, music, the history, all of it. And I pick and choose the great, awesome things, and I bring them to the forefront, and I help people sort of look at them and see how those things positively impact themselves, their families, their communities.
Thanks so much, Sandy. And so I know from my own experiences spending time at the center and marketplace that you have brought all of that alive for people when they come into the space. And so I'd love if you could offer us a little bit about what makes the center unique and the work that you do at the center particularly important. And I know that it's not only you as a leader at the center, but that you have both staff as well as community partners who participate both as in residency at the center as well as outside of those of us who are not outside of who are not in residency.
So the Cultural Center, many people don't realize, is a public space. It's a facility that belongs to the city of Miami. So myself and 10 other people who work there, we basically produce the programming and facilitate the activities of the 18 resident companies have made the Cultural Center their base. So we have several different dance companies that feature all types of dance, from Delu Africa, that's West African dance, to Tradition Laku Lakai, better known as TLL, that's Haitian folkloric dance, to the NSL organization, which is the Nancy Lehige, traditional Haitian dance company. And then we have other groups like Easter Seals that has an arts after school program. All these different groups make their home at the Cultural Center. And what makes it unique is there is no other institution in the world, not just in the United States, that really emphasizes Afro-Caribbean art with Haiti as the center, like the Cultural Center. And the whole goal of the Cultural Center when it was first built, and the Caribbean Marketplace, was to give this huge Haitian American community that has made its home here in South Florida a place to sort of exhibit their wares. And whether that's a small business like Mimi's Boutique that sells like crafts and foods and different items from Haiti, to Lacombe's Jewelry, who is a jewelry smith who has his booth at the marketplace. So the idea is to sort of create this hub where small businesses and different different groups within the Haitian community can exhibit what they do. That's what the Cultural Center is for. And what makes it super unique also is just how beautiful the facility is. So this is a 33,000 square foot facility that houses a theater that sits 300, 2 dance studios, 3 art classrooms, a courtyard, a photography studio, a screen printing studio, a kiln. Like, you're not going to find that in any other institution that's specifically focusing on Haitian culture outside of Haiti, of course.
And why would you say that that's particularly important in this time?
Oh, for so many reasons, but more so, we all know South Florida has the largest, we used to have the second largest Haitian American population in the world outside of Haiti. Now we have the largest. We've outnumbered New York now. And whenever you have such a large immigrant group living in a community, not only does that immigrant group need to feel comfortable and feel that they're part of the bigger picture, but the other people living with that group, they need to understand, to feel comfortable with them. They need to see how we can all live together peacefully. And I think it's important because this is a space where not only Haitian Americans frequent, many African American groups also. Delu Africa, for example, is not a Haitian dance troupe. They are an African American dance troupe that dance West African traditions, and they have made their home at the Cultural Center. And that group being there, and their dancers and the people who frequent their events being there, we're all sort of learning about each other and becoming more comfortable in each other's traditions. So I have many friends now who probably know how to cook griot, which is a traditional Haitian meal, better than I do. I have several friends now who probably know a few words in Creole so they can communicate with their staff or their co-workers. And it's really just about creating a hub for people to learn about different cultures and for them to feel comfortable with that culture. And then for the members of that culture or that cultural group to also feel comfortable receiving folks.
You've mentioned a really important thing, which is how the center is really a diasporic space, not only for members of the Haitian diaspora, but the African diaspora, and an opportunity for the larger community to become familiar with what it means to live with and also be connected to the African diaspora. I wanted to ask you about the changes and effects of the coronavirus at this time. And as you know, as we've been hearing about, it's really making a significant impact on our communities. So how are you and how are your colleagues dealing with the changes and effects of the novel coronavirus in the specific context of the center?
So it's like everyone, it's just made life really complicated because like all groups, we're adjusting to new technology. Like, you can't see my whole head. Here we go. You can see my whole head now on the screen. We're adjusting to technology. We're adjusting to bringing information to our clients and our constituents virtually. So that's a big adjustment. Number one, because of the technological divide in our community, in the Haitian American community that we serve. Many of the people we serve are still, are not as computer friendly and are not used to this yet. So it's a little bit harder to transition them to using technology to get the information that they need and want. And now I think because of the gravity of this pandemic, we've now switched in the last 2 or 3 months, switched from focusing to cultural activities and arts and really focusing on just helping the city get out very important information to a community that doesn't necessarily speak English. So whereas I spent before, which I love, spending most of my days figuring out how to teach people about art and food and different things in the African diaspora, now I'm just trying to get out basic information like ways to protect yourself for COVID, food distributions, and a lot of social service type activities that are now taking place at the Cultural Center in the meantime. And we pray and we hope and we anticipate that things will get back to normal soon. But until then, we really are doing our part in getting out the information to the community that may not necessarily get it through other platforms because of a language barrier. So if you come to the Cultural Center, we have flyers in Creole. I do e-blast in Creole. We're doing videos in Creole. We're doing posts in Creole. We're sending out press releases from the county and from the city in Haitian Creole, all just hoping that we can help get out the information to help people protect themselves and get resources for their families in a language that they understand, and just so that they're up to date like everyone else and not necessarily, lacking because they don't understand the information that's being put out there.
So what I hear you saying, Sandy, is that the center in this particular time, especially, I know that you've done some of this before also, but particularly this time, this is a moment where also people want to be able to understand the human experience of the, coronavirus, that they can pay attention to the services that you are offering, can pay attention to the people that have particular needs, the way that there are disparities that these, the disparities within our socioeconomic structure of our society impacts also the experience of this period of pandemic. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us about how then people who are interested can best support your institution and the work that you're doing?
The biggest help we can get is to help us disseminate the information. A lot of the information we receive from the state level, federal level, city level is important information, and we tend to post it on our website and on our social media pages. LHCC Miami, which stands for Little Haiti Cultural Complex Miami, is our handle on every platform, on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter, and to share that information. The biggest help, because whenever I get information, I post it on our website as well. And we don't have, a gazillion followers like many of the other larger organizations and agencies. So anyone who can go on our platform and share the information that we post with other people who they think might be able to use it is a big help to us. It'll help us during this pandemic. And then of course, in the future, it will definitely help us when we want to spread the word about some of the cultural activities and some of the other things that we have going on at the Cultural Center. So to become our friend on Facebook, a follower on Twitter, and a friend or a like on Instagram, all of those things will help us get the word out and help us with our marketing.
Okay, that's great. And in terms of, you also beginning to speak about the future, right? One of the other impacts of this particular time of both economic and social challenges is what the future looks like, not only for the center, but its neighbors. And I know that you've also spent a lot of time, making efforts to have connections with the community. And, you've also been at the middle of, right, it's very contentious at this time in terms of the gentrification of the Little Haiti community, of this area, this larger area that has more recently been designated as Little Haiti. And so what could you say about the future of the center looking like, and how, you can imagine that, your connections to the community, the neighborhoods, businesses, and how business owners may be being impacted, and again, increasing opportunities for those with greater resources and those with greater political or social connections to take advantage of the moment of distress otherwise. Yeah.
It's interesting because a friend of mine, she said that she saw COVID-19 as a pause and reset button for her life and for the world, because so many of us had to sort of like stop and reevaluate where we are and just figure out what your next step is going to be. And I feel that this pandemic has brought a lot of things to the forefront, including this whole idea of gentrification and people moving out of their homestead into other areas because of, prices going up and all those things. So as we look at, for example, Haitian Heritage, the month of May, this is Haitian Heritage Month in South Florida, and really across, but was started here in South Florida. I think over the years, with so many people talking about how Little Haiti has evolved, and because things sort of came to no festivals and you didn't see all these type of big parties that we normally have, I really thought Haitian Heritage Month would just sort of go away. But in the last few weeks, we've seen car parades and we've seen flags come out in Little Haiti and in the surrounding neighborhoods. And we realized all the people have not moved out as people thought. They were just, doing their thing, sort of a little quiet, sort of a little reserved, and sort of watching from the inside, watching what was happening on our main corridors, East 2nd Avenue and North Miami Avenue. But there's still such a really large Haitian community in Little Haiti and in those surrounding neighborhoods. And I see them still having their home in the future in Little Haiti. Things are difficult, and I think a lot of people were renters and were forced to sort of, find someplace that was a little bit more affordable. But many people, more than we imagined, did realize the importance of keeping their and supporting their neighborhood and keeping their businesses in their neighborhood, and they've stayed. And I don't think we felt we necessarily knew that until now, because everyone's sort of open now and having to make, secure their survival, if for lack of a better word, in what's happening, and looking for help and sort of talking to their neighbor to see what their neighbor's doing to survive. So I think the future is bright for Little Haiti specifically, because the population that cares about it and loves it is still very much present and still very much active, even though many people thought that maybe they had retreated, for lack of a better term. And also in terms of just the cultural center and the need for it, there's always a need for spaces that bring people together. What together looks like is going to change because of health concerns, but together is always going to be important, because no matter how much I speak to you on this screen and we communicate virtually and we give out information on these screens, nothing would have been compared to if I saw you in person and I hugged you and I gave you 2 kisses on each side of the cheek. There's a human connection that's always important and necessary. So because that's always necessary, I think spaces like the Cultural Center that bring people together will thrive. Just what thriving looks like will be different, but they're still necessary.
Well, definitely, you've given us so much to consider, and I really look forward to continuing the conversation. I think it's going to be one that we need to stay on top of. I tend to be very much an optimist, but I think on this point of gentrification, you're definitely more optimistic than I am. And so I hope that we do use this moment to leverage right, the opportunities for our communities to come together, and for people
definitely
not only of Haitian descent. And I think, right, that's the key. And that's why we have an opportunity to have these conversations beyond, just just within a Haitian center. So I want to open up and see if we have any questions at this time from our panelists. Not our panelists, for our panel, for our panelists. Okay, hi, wonderful. This is Julio Capo, my colleague and dear friend, and thank you so much he was also very integral in helping to make sure we had this conversation. And he says, I want to thank both Chantalle and Sandy for this incredibly important conversation. There is so much rich information here, and he's very grateful. He says, one of the key things that he's taken away from this session is the important role the center is playing in also facilitating conversations about safety and risk of the coronavirus during this time. In addition to disseminating information, as you mentioned, Sandy, he's wondering if there's something to support local artists connected to the center. Wonderful question. Thank you so much.
There is, and I've been looking because I want to give you the website, but there's a wonderful curator in our community. Her name is Rosie Gordon Wallace, and Rosie, yes, we all love Rosie because she really supports our artists in meaningful ways besides presenting their work to the community. She has an event called Farms to Studios, and I'm going to give everyone, I have to take off my glasses, I'm getting old, and my phone with my glasses. She has wonderful.
Again, Sandy, you for a second. Mm-hmm.
Did you lose me?
I don't know.
I can hear you.
Oh yeah, I think it's just me.
Okay. So Rosie has a wonderful event called Farms to Studios, and it's taking place at Bayshore Lutheran Church. And it's our 23rd, June 6th, June 20th, July 4th, 18th, and then August 1st. But you can get the details. Basically, they're providing food assistance and fresh groceries to artists specifically. And all the information can be found on her website at dvcai.org at /artist relief. Again, that's dvcai.org/artist relief. So that's just one of the relief efforts. And then at the Cultural Center on May 31st on Mother's Day, which is Haitian Mother's Day, we'll be also doing a food distribution. So everyone is welcomed. So that's another assistance that we're providing. And then finally, District 5 of the city of Miami, they are hosting a food voucher program. So there are several restaurants in Little Haiti, Overtown, Liberty City that have agreed to participate in this voucher program. So anyone can come to the Cultural Center, turn in their name, and receive vouchers to eat at these different restaurants if their families are in need of a hot meal. So that is also something that's ongoing throughout this pandemic. And I think District 5 has been promoting it for the last month or so. And again, I really encourage people, please go to the social media pages for the Cultural Center, and all of the different activities and services available are posted. But really quickly, I really want to go back to what Chantalle said earlier about optimism and about gentrification, because it would hurt my soul to end this conversation without.
Well, we got more questions, so don't worry, it won't be the last. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Okay, without going back to I don't want to be naive, and I don't want to come off like I don't see gentrification happening in Little Haiti. It is happening, but like Chantalle said, and I agree with her 100%, this is a window of opportunity for us right now in COVID to change the direction some of the things are going in. And that's what I was saying. That was the point I was trying to make. I wasn't sure if I really made that point clear. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to make that I agree with her, that this is an opportunity to change the course of some things. And the point I'm making is that there are some people still ready and prepared to do that. I think people sort of thought there's no one there to take advantage of this opportunity, that people didn't really care or were not financially able to. But I'm saying that there are some people who are still in the community who can take advantage of this new opportunity that has presented itself in the middle of this pandemic to sort of take hold of our community again.
Okay, so thanks so much, Sandy. I've got two more comments, and we're coming up on the time. So I want to just first, just to come back to the first theme of the conversation, which is about the cultural institutions during this time of crisis. We've got huge thanks for this conversation and wanting to hear more about if you know about other organizations in your networks that, and how they're coping.
Some of them are struggling, especially organizations that have a brick and mortar. The Capoeira studio up our street is struggling. They were struggling even before this happened. So now, not being able to hold classes, not being able to hold events, that's causing them a lot of distress. Also, a lot of the social service agencies in the community, from Haiti Reader, which has changed their name. I apologize, I can never. That's be fun to me, but they're also struggling because they provide very important services, especially for the undocumented community in Little Haiti, and they're not able to open their doors regularly just because they need to protect their staff and have to work virtually with the community that is not computer savvy or does not have access to technology as they should. So that's been very difficult. And then, of course, many of the art galleries, they're not selling, and landlords still need to pay mortgages. Landlord has been given relief, so they can't pass that relief on to their tenants. So it's a hard time. It's a hard time, but a lot of the galleries and a lot of the institutions, they've been staying alive through social media and through virtual meetings. But again, specifically for those of us who serve American community, the Haitian American community, and the Caribbean community at large, a large number of our community do not have access to technology. So when we switch our platforms to technology to reach them, we reach some, but not all. So that's a struggle, and that's something we're all working on improving now and helping more people in our community have access to technology on a regular basis and not just sometimes.
Okay, we're at time, but I just want to ask one of the, we have a couple of questions. I'll ask one just because I think it's a great way to close out, is to say, is there a mandate in place that the city of Miami will keep the center open, given the changing dynamics and the significance of the center?
So right now, there isn't a formal mandate, but I can say that until when I say we, until I figure out how to protect everyone that's coming into this space, protecting the staff and the people, we will be close to the public on a daily basis. But the goal is to eventually open. It's just that we have to make sure we have the proper cleaning and health protocols in place so that when people come in, they're safe. But the center is open for specific activities. So like I said, we are open on May 31st for food distribution, and we've been opening periodically to the public for different public services to the community. But to go back to regularly scheduled programming, like many of the other arts institutions, that's the goal, but we just have to make sure we have the proper protocols and safety measures put in place to protect the staff that works there, as well as the people who come in. But what we will definitely look like a different space when we do reopen, because we have to limit the number of people in the space, and we have to make sure that everyone's health protected.
Right. Well, I think what the comments that you've raised are very important ones. I know that the question was raised in the context of, again, the purchasing of properties from development. So I think that what we have an opportunity to do, again, is to continue this conversation. We'll try to address some of these questions on the website afterwards, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to have another Q&A, a panel and Q&A. So very, very grateful for your taking the time. Thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in from all over the world. We'd love to know where you came in from. So if you have some time before you log off, let us know where you're listening in from. Or if you watch afterwards, let us know where you're listening from. Thank you again so much, Sandy Dorsainvil, manager of the Little Haiti Cultural Center and Caribbean Marketplace here in Miami, Florida. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.